Welcome to Create with Krista Kirky. Today we get to hear from a really cool creator who has built this amazing shop from her craft room. Her name is Kristyn. She and I have a love of crafting and we connected over it, and I'm so excited to hear more from her. I'm excited to share her creativity and inspiration with you as well. So let's get to it. Kristyn, you're here. It's so good to see you.
Hello, how's it going?
Oh, good. How are you?
Good, good.
Are your
I'm
kids
letting,
asleep or?
yeah, I was just gonna say I'm letting my husband take over bedtime responsibilities today, so I feel like a free woman right now.
I know, right? I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm kind of like, you got the kids. They're technically watching a show with him. Their
Yep,
favorite right now is Scooby-Doo. I don't know. I have toddlers and they love Scooby-Doo, which is random, but
nice. Yeah, we anything on Disney Plus pretty much.
that's the best. Okay, yay. Well, Kristen, I'm so happy you're here. I'm like so excited to talk to you.
Oh, good.
Um, okay, so why don't you just like, I guess, introduce yourself, give us, yeah, a little background on you. Me too. I'm curious to know.
Okay, well, I'm all caught up on your podcast episodes. I've been listening ever since you invited me on, so I'm excited to be part of it. Excuse my voice. I've been sick the last week, which is annoying. So I sound a little like an octave lower than I normally do.
Oh, really?
But anyways, maybe it's just like one of those things where you hear yourself lower than you really sound. But
I feel like I'm
anyway,
a low voice too. So it's could be the voice girls together.
yeah, no, that's fine. So I'm Kristen Lloyd. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois area. And then when I went out to college in Idaho, I met my husband there. And I mean, I'm kind of going to intertwine introduction with how I started my shop, if that works.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying to know. So yes, please. I
Okay.
cannot wait to hear
So,
all
yeah,
about yourself.
so,
Like your background, your like brand. I'm just like obsessed. So yes, please.
oh, thank you. Yeah, so I moved out to college and met my husband out there. I don't know if you're familiar or if your listeners are familiar, but I served a Mormon mission shortly after my start of college, and my husband was writing me on my mission.
Ooh.
That means he was like, yeah, anyways, I was on the hook, right? So we were writing each other, and then came back, and I don't know, another year, 6 months, 8 months, I don't know how long. After that, we got married, and I've been in Idaho girl ever since, in a really small town. So I have a big city background, but now I'm living in a small town of less than 1,000 people. So it's pretty different, but I love it. And I love the like just homey hometown feel of things. It is really unfortunate that my closest Walmart is like over an hour away. So
Oh,
we have to like really plan ahead whenever we just need food or whatever, which is an interesting challenge in itself. Living in a small town,
mhm.
you kind of have to get creative with your entertainment and the things that you
Okay.
do and the way you make
Mhm.
money and all of that. So, anyways, my business officially started in 2017, like a year after we were married.
Okay.
And
I know. I am sorry. In my head, I'm just like, she's gotta have been working on this for years because like I'm just like, this is goals. Your craft room is
oh, thank you.
beautiful. So
It's
27.
all yeah.
Uh-huh.
So 2017, in February, and I was like, so I was in the middle of kind of in that weird standstill of like, okay, I'm far enough into my major that
Hmm.
I might as well finish it. But I
Okay.
am also kind of at the point where I'm like, I don't know if I really love what I'm doing, but like I should just stick it out and like, you know,
What
finish it
was your
out.
major?
Anyways, so I was in family and consumer science education at
Hmm.
BYU, Idaho.
Mm.
So it's really fun, and I think it fits my personality because it's just a little bit of everything. Like,
Yeah.
um, I don't know if you're familiar with family consumer science, but for
Not
anyone who's
really.
not, it's like the home ec program that you learn in high school, but the
Mm.
new name is family consumer science.
Okay.
So it's like childcare, baking, cooking, sewing, finance, like all of the like practical life skills
Cool.
um
I
that
definitely asked my husband, could use those skills. Could use more of
yeah,
those skills.
yeah. Anyways, I was kind of at that point in my major where I was like, I should just stick it out. But I'm not totally sure that this is what I want to do forever. But it was enough of like different ideas and subjects
Mhm.
all kind of mixed in one that I was still interested
Mhm.
because I get bored of too much of the same thing.
Don't we
So,
all?
anyways,
I do too. Or at least like we're the same ish, maybe ish person. So
yes, yeah, okay. I thought the whole time I was listening to your podcast that like you and I are very, very like-minded.
really.
Just
Yay.
in like our not only our current life circumstance, but just like the way we think and everything too. But yeah,
Good. Good.
anyways,
See? I'm so
yeah,
happy.
yeah. So like I said, I was at that like point, and I felt like there was something more in me that like my degree wasn't quite tickling. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes,
there was more
totally.
like
I love that
creative.
word, tickling.
I don't know what else to say. So, I started just like painting and like kind of reverting back to what I would do at home, like when I was a kid growing up,
Okay.
right? So I would revert back to like, oh, I know I like to paint, so I'll at least like do some painting or like whatever. And since we were still kind of newly married, I didn't have decorations for our little apartment or
Yeah,
anything. So I was
okay.
like, oh, so I'll buy some felt at the store and like make some little garlands or whatever, right? So all these little things. And what I started doing was I would take pictures of all these things that like were very haphazard and like nothing was there was no theme, right? So I was like, here's a picture of the Christmas garland that I made, and here's a picture of like the wreath that I made for our house and
Mhm.
whatever. Not that any of it was super good, but I enjoyed making it. And with these pictures, I started putting them on a blog.
Okay.
And um, on this blog, I called it Sunflowers and Stitches
Cute.
because, anyways, long story short, that's a story for another day. But I had surgery back in the day, and my mom had brought sunflowers to me at the hospital to make me feel better. So sunflowers and stitches.
Wow.
It was like my little joyful escape was my crafting my sunflowers and stitches. So,
Uh-huh.
anyways, that's where that began.
Cute.
And I would just blog. Like I was like, I don't know what to do with this content that I have, that I'm
Yeah.
making, that I'm creating. So here, I like had a free WordPress or Wix or something. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
And I
totally.
was just
Okay.
putting these pictures out there. And then I started putting them onto like an Instagram page. And like not very much traction, whatever. Like some people I knew from high school would like it, whatever.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I stuck with that for a little while. Um, and finished my degree. I did my student teaching, which I just didn't have a good experience with,
Wait,
which
so
I,
it was a teacher degree.
yes, so it was
Okay,
to
did you know I
teach
was a
family and
teacher?
consumer. Yes, you're a math teacher.
Yeah, so look at
Yeah.
this. Okay, so you were teaching. Okay, I got it. Teaching home ec.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, or home ec, whatever the thing that we're
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
call
Family consumer
it.
science.
Yeah,
So anyways, I had to do the whole like teaching side of it too as well. So
yeah.
I went and I
And you
had to
did love
move
your
to Utah
student
for a
teaching.
little bit, and I did my student teaching experience. Didn't love it,
Mhm.
sadly enough. I'm not cut out to be a teacher
It's fine.
of kids this generation. I don't know. There's just a lot to it. And
Totally. Was
anyways,
it middle school or high school when
my student teaching was high school, but I'm certified in Idaho to do both middle school and high school. So
yeah. Yeah, same.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
it's tough.
where we kind of left off. And then I was in this like weird limbo land because
Okay.
my husband had this career that like his job paid for him to go through school, and like he just was
Mhm.
gung ho about staying with this tractor company. And
Mhm.
anyways, it was kind of like in this point where I felt pointless, and I was just the wife that stayed home and didn't have a job. And it
Mm.
was like right before COVID hit, And I was like, what do I do? So I was like, well, I guess I'll just do the only thing I know how to do and I'll keep this blog thing going.
Great. We love
So
that. Put it
I
out there.
was, I started doing like time lapse videos of me painting.
Cool.
And I put a few on YouTube. Nothing ever happened with that.
Hmm.
I did a few videos on Instagram. A few people
Hmm.
liked it here and there. And then I was like, what the heck? I am going to sell some of these paintings. Like, why not? So I thinking I had like no influence on the Instagram. I had no pull of the crowd back in the day. I just put on I think it was a story, but it might have been a post, a static post. I don't remember.
Hmm.
And I was like, I am going to be doing $12 watercolor paintings for anyone who
Oh,
wants one.
okay.
And so then a few people were like, oh, that's a good idea. And I went to sleep. There was no response. I wake up in the morning and there was like all these comments on my blog posts. And I'm like, wait, what just happened?
So this was on
I
a blog post that you posted you would do watercolor things.
It was kind of like a blog post and Instagram post together. Like I both,
Ooh.
yeah, both of them.
Okay, okay.
And so I get all these comments. And for me, like 2 comments was a big deal at the time. Do you know what I
Totally.
mean?
Totally.
And so anyway, I look at all these comments and I'm like, yeah, I want a painting. I want a painting. Like Christmas is coming up. I want a painting. And so I wish I could remember how many I did that summer, or anyways, end of the year. It was probably like 20 paintings or so, which
Wow.
is a lot of work for only $12 a painting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm
And so
like,
then I
yeah.
realized like my value as an artist
Mm,
must be more than $12 if there's so much demand. And so then
love that.
I was like, okay, well, I'm going to pump these out and then I'm going to bump up my prices a little bit. And so I kept kind of like bumping up my prices and people were still interested. And then I would be really good at scanning in my pictures, putting them on my Instagram. And then I kind of started getting in the flow of things like, oh, okay, so people are interested in my work. There is value to what I have to offer. I'm not necessarily making a lot of money at this, but I'm enjoying it. And people are like giving me feedback that's positive on this. So
Love that.
we worked through that for a while. And then in 2020,
Hmm.
I had my first baby, who's now my 4-year old.
Okay.
And I kind of pivoted a little bit. I was still doing watercolor paintings, but I was also kind of starting to get a little bored of that because that's how my brain is. If I do the same thing too long, then I get bored.
Mhm. I
And
think I'm
so,
similar.
so anyway, then I started like I saw something on Instagram. I feel like it was before this big craze happened about polymer clay jewelry.
Right. I
And that
remember.
was like a
Hmm.
pretty big thing for quite a while. And I feel like it's only recently kind of started to peter out.
Okay.
Um,
I agree with that. I remember that too. That was a big thing.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
still kind
And
of is, but it is teetering, you think? Maybe.
I think so a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, there's definitely still a market for it, but um, I had a friend that wanted to learn how to do it with me. And so we both got like very simple materials from Hobby Lobby and just kind of played around. And, we had our 2 little babies on the floor, like doing their thing. And then we would play with
That's so fun.
our clay and whatever. And anyways, it was fun. So we each kind of went our separate directions. We each moved into our own homes in different areas
Uh-huh.
and kind of kept our clay jewelry thing going. And I started selling those as well.
Yeah, I see a
Um,
ton right behind you. They look
oh, yes, here they are.
so that's cool. So it
Um,
started kind of watercolor, and then it was like you
and
learned
I
the
added
shape skill.
what
And
Yes, and then I added the jewelry. Then I had some friends that were doing stickers, just
ooh,
like
yes.
watercolor stickers and stuff.
Okay,
Um, and I
cool.
was like, well, I have watercolor paintings that I've scanned in and put on my Instagram post all these many times.
Uh-huh.
Some of them were like families, some of them were houses, and some of them were like temples. And flowers. And anyways, I had a good variety of different things. And I was like, well, I wonder if I could repurpose some of the art that I've already done
Ooh, cool.
and take those images that I've smartly saved
Mhm.
and only got $12 out of at the time. um, and I mean, it was I'm the artist. I had the rights to them, so I took those scans, and my dad actually gave me an iPad for that Christmas, and I started going crazy with drawing on my iPad like all the time.
Mm,
So I took those
yeah, yeah.
scans
Hmm.
and turned them into stickers, and then I had a little bit of like research to figure out like good sticker paper and how to outsource things to make it truly like waterproof, UV resistant. And
Wow.
for me, I've decided that I can't make it waterproof and UV resistant truly in my own home. Some
Oh,
people
yeah.
are a little more comfortable saying
Hmm.
that it is
Yeah.
in their own home. So I outsource the printing and then I cut it on my Cricut. Is what I've decided
Cool.
for for my sticker shop. But yeah,
So,
so slowly I've been adding more and more things to my shop, just things that spark joy, things that make
yeah.
me happy. Colorful. Everything in my shop is super colorful, and I've added like stationary goods like little planners, notepads, and then washi tapes. That
Yeah.
was like a big initial purchase that I did, I think 2 years ago or something. Um, and they all sold out. So I made an even bigger purchase again right before my brand new baby was born in
Oh
May,
my God.
which was a scary purchase to
I believe
do
that.
right before you have a new baby. But yeah, it's been good.
So
And
you sent me some of those washi tapes.
yes, I
I
did.
love them. They're right
Good.
here.
I'm glad.
I'm like,
Good.
I'm like showing them off because I think I sent you.
No,
I
you're
don't haven't
good.
opened them yet, but they're gonna be all in my new planner. Trust me, this is
Yay.
like my theme. Um,
Yes,
but so did you design those on your iPad then? I'm
I
assuming.
did. Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. What do you
So I had to
use to
learn how
design
to make like a seamless design so it can be like repeated infinitely.
them?
Hmm.
What do you
Yeah.
use? Procreate
I
or
do use Procreate. Yeah.
because I got an iPad and I was like I was trying to get into Procreate, but I couldn't figure it out. I'm like I can figure out Canva. Couldn't figure out
Yeah.
Procreate though.
I think part of it is I did have like a little bit of a graphic design background.
Ooh,
In high school, I
such a
had
good
a
skill.
few like Photoshop classes and things like that. So I have experience and I was comfortable playing around with Procreate.
Um,
Um, but yeah, so um,
that
that's
is
pretty
so
much
cool.
me with my
So
shop. I did rebrand
you've been exploring for what is that like? I want to say almost 10 years. It's probably not almost 10 years, but like
since
seven-ish.
2017
Yeah.
till 25. Yep.
Wow. So you're like a true, just like entrepreneur, business woman. Do you feel like that?
Um, Sometimes I feel like a fraud. I feel like an imposter,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the whole fake it till you make it thing, but
Oh,
I
I
think we
agree.
all feel like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Especially like, I don't know, just because, podcasting is kind of new to me. You said you've podcasted before too. Wait, you had a
Mhm.
podcast or you have a podcast.
Yeah,
When did you start
yeah.
that or when did you do that?
You're gonna test me on all these
Okay,
things.
okay. Yeah, you're right. It's been 7 years. You don't have to,
No,
or you
no,
can
you're
tell
okay.
me.
So,
Mm.
okay, so let me just add a few more details in. So I
Okay.
did rebrand my shop from Sunflowers and Stitches to Kristyn's Craft Room because I felt like it
Spoke to
explained a
me.
little bit more.
Spoke to me.
Um, yeah,
Because I
it
think
just
you found me and I
explained
saw
like
you and I was
who I
like, who is
am.
this? I gotta follow this
Yeah.
crafter. It's so cute.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I changed that, and then I want to say like a year after that, I started a podcast. I think we got to like 24 episodes, and then it just got busy with my little
Yeah,
people that I couldn't keep up with it. But it
totally.
was really fun. There were some really good episodes. If anyone in can I do a shout out to
Yeah, of
my
course. I'm
podcast?
like, I need to find it. I want to find it. You
No,
told
you're
me we're
good.
similar. I'm like, I gotta listen.
Yeah. So I can give you like maybe two or three episodes I really enjoyed.
Yes, I would love
It's called Good Crafternoon by Kristen Lloyd.
Oh. Cute.
So
I
that's
can't even handle that.
like
Good girl.
afternoon, but crafternoon. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, um, so I really enjoyed my episode that I had with Nick Hotman. He
Okay.
is a muralist, and he does murals all around, like Idaho, Michigan, Texas, anyways, all over, and is really good at like working with the community, like the local community, to figure out like just
Wow.
making connections and networking everything. So that was a really good one. And then I also, this might sound funny, but my sister is an editor,
Ooh.
with the Church of Jesus Christ. She works on like the Joseph Smith papers, and
Uh-huh.
she just like has this like very um, editorial mindset. And so we were talking about like what kind of things you need to be like consistent in your small business, and like what kinds of things to like keep, I don't know, like keep an eye out for, kind of have like an editing mindset. So that one
Ooh.
is like editing with Mackenzie or something like that. I know there was one with Rebecca that we talked about different like hosting platforms. She
Mm.
is a, yes, web designer. So
Mm.
we talked about like SEO and just all the good stuff on how to get noticed on Google and that kind of stuff. So anyways, check out Good Crafternoon. I'm not making any money from it or anything. So
I know.
it's
It's just fun.
yeah,
It's fun
it
to
was,
talk to people. I feel like it's just really fun to like hear from people
yeah.
and put things out there
I
and
haven't put any new episodes out for a while, and honestly, I don't know when we're gonna get on that boat again. But one day.
I feel like it's fine, right? The seasons of life and
Yes,
the things
exactly.
that like I mean, I feel like if we're similar people, it's like when something is maybe kind of new and exciting, it's like we go all in. And
Yes.
then if that's not speaking to you anymore, that's fine. I think
Right.
that's
And I
fine.
think part of it is I just like figuring out how to do new things. And so
Mm.
it's like, oh, now that I've figured out how to make a podcast, like I'm good for a minute, you know?
I definitely resonate with that. It's like, okay, next thing. I figured that out. What's
Yep.
new? Except for I don't feel like I've figured out podcasting yet. So I'm like, I'm still in this. And YouTube, right? You said you did YouTube. I'm kind of like,
Not really.
you did it for a second, which is fine. I feel like I'm trying to like figure those two out. I'm like, this is fun to me. Let's I don't know. I enjoy both of those things. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
what you enjoy,
Good
I think
job. Good for
is
you.
always good. Yeah, and you too. I mean, I consider myself a crafty person. So like that's why of course like I said, I was just like this craft room is just, like
Oh, thank
I
you.
want it.
My happy
In fact,
place.
yeah, I don't know if you could tell, but like my office is like in a corner kind of in a living space. So I'm like
That
jealous you
works.
have a whole room. I'm like, that's my next step. I'm gonna give myself a whole room. It'll probably be more like an office than a craft room, but those are
Yeah.
those are goals for me. And the other thing I was gonna say, just like listening to all of that. And something I've kind of been just thinking about recently, because I mean, I only started my business like a little over a year ago. So I'm like newer. But I just feel like hearing your story and like just thinking about business in general, I feel like it takes a while to like find what you are good at or what you do want to hone
Hmm.
into, right? So like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I know what I like to do, but I also am like, it's fine if you pivot, right? Kristen's been pivoting. She's moved around a little bit. I like
No,
that.
it totally is. You do not have to be set in stone the minute you start something new. Like I tell my friends this all the time whenever they're like, "Oh, you do so good. Like I want to try something like that, but I'm too nervous to start." I'm so sorry. Like just start.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have like a perfect name or brand. You
Mm,
don't have to have like perfect design or color scheme or anything. Like
mm,
just start. Like put your pictures out there. That's what I did on my blog. I didn't know what I was doing. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And
So,
so if you don't start now, like you have nowhere to improve upon. You have nowhere to like even begin on your journey.
yeah. And then like, I feel like people like just take the success that they see you having, or like they're like, wow, that's so cool. But it's like, it's actually kind of like a process. Like, I've been doing this, like, it's a
Yeah.
daily thing. It's not just like I did it and it happened. It's
Hmm.
like practice makes perfect, right? Just like repetition.
Right.
It's almost like a workout. Like, gotta get your reps in.
Yes.
Gotta just like, and then like follow what's working for you and go with that. And then I like hearing also what you said about just like, not that you think you're a fraud, but I'm like, it's good to hear that because sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? Like, am I really? I don't want to, I'm just throwing it out there and I almost feel fraudulent, but I'm not. It's like, I'm just trying. I'm just trying new things.
I have another episode on that, on imposter syndrome.
I need to look up your, I know. And oh, and the other thing I was going to say to you, not that you have to skip back into podcasting, but I've been talking to someone who does podcasts and she always like pauses and does like a new season. So you could be like, hey, season two's out. Or you
Yep.
don't have to.
I
But I'm like,
know.
that's good to know too, because we're talking about like creating content and stuff.
Yeah.
You can't just like always be doing it. I'm like, you can take breaks. I think it's totally fine. So
Yes, for sure.
okay, so I had another question for you. Especially because like, the washi tapes and stuff, and I'm a bullet journaler. Have you ever bullet journaled or do you know what bullet journaling is?
So I know what it is. I have not. No.
What about journaling? Do you journal? Do you plan? I'm just curious.
I for a while I did my own like personal blog that was separate from my crafting blog. I consider that like a journal because I look back on that and like see the pictures and um, you know,
Cool. So
read
when you
about
say
my past
personal blog,
experiences.
like, did you have followers? I'm not very like familiar with
Not
blog.
really.
No, so it was kind of like out there, but it wasn't really like tons of people were seeing
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I would post about it like if someone wanted to read it, but it wasn't like there's no like advertisements on it or anything. Like it
Yeah,
was just for me to like have my record of memories and the pictures that I took and all that kind of stuff.
that's cool. I mean, it to me a little bit sounds like how you can use Instagram, which I know some people do. Like this is kind of like my journal, my
Hmm.
blog. That's cool.
Yeah,
So you like journal
it was
online?
just a long, like a longer form of that, basically. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's really cool. So I was gonna ask you if you would want a planner or a journal or what you would make, but well, okay, let me back that up. I think if you follow me, you probably know I like to make like custom bullet journals or like custom
Hmm.
planners for people or a journal, I guess. So if you were to make one, did you have any ideas or you're like, nah, I'm an online
So,
girl?
no, so I had a few ideas.
Ooh, tell
Um,
me.
Not that you have to do this, but
I know I'm
different
like
ideas
I
that
was like,
would like
oh wait, I'm
fit my
scared to ask you
lifestyle.
because then I'll be like tempted to just like do it for you. But I mean, this is just
Oh,
purely ideas. I just want to hear your ideas. Of
yeah,
course,
no, you're okay.
I want to do
Um,
it, but I'm curious.
so something that would fit like my lifestyle,
Hmm.
would be somehow having like an order counter, um, just
Ooh,
so I could track like the orders that I'm getting per month and like kind of see visually, you know. And then when I was in my like craft show market era
oh
before I
yeah.
had my second baby,
Hmm.
I would have loved to have um like a monthly calendar of like what markets I was doing on the weekends.
Mm.
Um and maybe like track sales of the markets separately than from like my Etsy orders,
That makes
just
a
to
lot of
see like
sense.
what sells well um on
Mm.
the market versus anyways. It would just be interesting
Oh,
to see to
that's
track
cool.
that.
Yeah, tracking. Hmm.
And then I some kind of like monthly launch goal like that I could plan at the beginning of the year and then carry throughout. Be like, oh, for example, like in January is my birthday month, and I usually do some kind of like birthday launch. And so I could say, okay, this is like the few things I want to drop on my birthday launch. And then this is what I would want to do on a Valentine's launch, and just like a few ideas that I could do and then work ahead of time because
Yeah.
once you're in that month, it's too late. You can't launch things anymore as a small business owner. I always tell people the reason why Hobby Lobby has their Christmas stuff in July is because the makers are making things that far in advance so that they can sell
Mhm.
it in their shop by the time Christmas hits.
That's so cool. Yeah, it is hard to like, I'm kind of like you with like a product and stuff and like you have to have it ready early because especially with planners, right? Like I'm like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you wanted a planner, you probably should have already made it by now. Even though I know people are probably like starting to think about planners, but I'm like in my head I'm like the time is done. It's not
Yes.
though. People can still make plans with me if they want to. But that's just like I'm like you. I'm like I think ahead because I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, those are cool ideas. I
I have
like those
two
a
more
lot. Oh,
if you
tell me
want them.
more. I want to hear them.
My another one would be like a habit tracker, but for like social media.
Yes.
So like just to keep your engagement going, you know what I mean? So um it's something you could just check mark like, yep, I did my 3 stories today and I did my Instagram reel and my and I moved it to TikTok and I did a TikTok, you know what I mean? Just so you could like check, check,
Yes.
check, check. And then I don't know if this is possible, but I would make it like a dateless
Mhm.
calendar or planner
Mm-hmm.
so that I could like just keep it going or start at any point
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, just kind of
Cool.
move things around
Oh yeah.
and
Undated is
something
totally
colorful.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And keep it, you said you would make it colorful?
Yes.
Well, of course. I know. So your like brand slash theme is rainbow? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, just bright bold colors. Yeah. Mostly
I feel
pink.
you. I feel you. I'm trying to like narrow down colors. And I think I mean, generally I like pink and blue, but I'm like, but I like all color. I just like colors. I'm a colorful person.
Yes.
Ooh, okay, those are fun ideas. I'll think about it some more. I just like to hear. And then the problem,
Yeah.
like I said, is when I hear someone's ideas, I'm like, okay, let me do this right now. But we'll keep it. We'll keep it in my mind. And I like that too because hearing from you especially that you like talked a lot about it sounded like tracking things, right? I feel like
Hmm.
I kind of forget that that's one of the main things with bullet journaling is like almost just like data, like seeing what happened or seeing what you're doing. And so yeah, it's not so like intense of just like, oh, if you didn't check your like TikTok or things every day, it's just like, oh, that's interesting. I forgot that day. Or I don't know.
Hmm.
Yay.
So when you're talking about like your pregnancy cycle really well,
Oh
I could
yeah.
relate to that.
Did.
I
Okay, tell me about that.
um I didn't have babies back to back to back like you did. I just have two. Um, but I can definitely relate to like being super tired in the beginning and not having energy. I lost like all creativity there for a
Oh,
while.
interesting.
I had like all I wanted to do was sleep, honestly. And
Mm,
I was like, and I have to chase this little 4-year-old around. I guess she was 3 at the time. And I just could not keep up with her. So I made her take naps so I could take naps. Like it
yeah.
was a lot. So what I was gonna say on that though is it is interesting how taking a break from not only my shop but social media really had an effect on my shop. Um,
Mm.
because just like my views on Instagram are like way lower on story views than when I before I took my break. So, anyways, that's the reason why like just a little bit of like the
Consistency.
consistency of like that a habit track like a social media habit tracker would
Mm.
it would really help because like I said, you really lose a lot of views.
Wow, I didn't think about that. I've always chosen to believe that like it's fine.
No, it totally is. No,
Do you feel like it shifted things in your business in a negative way or
um kind of.
okay. That would make sense then.
um yes and no. How do I say this? So the interesting thing for me was on like Instagram especially was affected negatively. I have like way less views. Like I said, I used to do story sales all the time, and
Hmm.
like that was my big money makers. I would
Yeah.
do story sales and be like, okay, these are my earrings. Like when they sold out, they sold out. Like drop your email, I'll invoice you, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I have tried to jump back on that train, and it's like crickets.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's just kind of weird. However, I don't know why this, and it shouldn't correlate, but somehow it does. My Etsy is like on automatic right now. Like
Oh.
I don't ever push, I mean, I do push people towards my Etsy, but I'm getting a lot of Etsy finding customers for me
Mm.
more so now with my second little than I did before. So I don't know why that makes any
Mm.
sense. And it's not the same customers coming back. It's just
Cool.
Etsy ads working for me. And keeping me busy packing orders, which is really nice.
That's super cool. Well, maybe that was part of it. I don't know. I
I
don't
have
really know
no
Etsy super
idea.
well, but
Yeah.
I did. I started in it. I started off doing Etsy and then quickly, like, I couldn't sell custom journals in the way I wanted to through Etsy. So that's why I switched to having my own website. But I have always thought like, oh wait, Etsy's probably cool because the sales can, sort of come from Etsy. At least that's my understanding of it. That's why people
Hmm.
like Etsy. So that's super exciting that Etsy's working
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
favor.
So I'm glad about that for sure.
And remind
It
me
won't
how
bother me so much.
old your youngest is now.
So she just is about to turn 7 months.
Oh, so she's really young. She's like,
Hmm.
yeah, so you're like kind of postpartum still. Do you feel like you
Yeah.
consider yourself still postpartum? That's a question.
I would. Yeah.
Would. How long do you
Yeah.
feel like it takes you?
I
Well, I
feel
have
like
never really had a very, my postpartum experiences are weird because I'm always
yeah.
pregnant within the year, but
So I would say you have to at least be done breastfeeding, right?
hmm
Um, for a good few months. Personally, I
hmm
felt like I don't know if your question is about like having your body back and like your mindset back,
kind of
but
both maybe, if either,
it
whatever
took
applies to
me
you.
about like 2.5 years.
Really.
Yeah.
Was it body or mind or both? Kind of,
Um, kind of both. Yeah.
really. Yeah, I'm like so fresh that it's just like I'm this is random, but I missed my 6 week appointment. They canceled it for me, and I was like, I'm fine. This is fine. I was like, whatever. I just canceled it. It's fine. And now I like called them. I was like, I missed it. I need it. Like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like mentally I'm like all over the place. Obviously, my body, I don't know if you saw, I've been like running and that like destroyed my knees, and I just feel like a wreck right now. I think
Yeah.
it's like the crash. I think the postpartum high hit me of like, yay, the baby's out of me. I'm not like so heavy anymore. But now I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, my body
Yeah.
just went through a lot. So, but I do think that having, a business or like a creative outlet like this helps, at least my mind. And
Definitely.
I'm working to make it help with my body too. I mean, a nice thing about having a business is I can, schedule my workouts when I want to and stuff. I mean,
Yes.
workouts being like walks.
Yeah.
We learned running is a no-go for now.
Do you
But
know what helped me is I
what?
would go to the track with my husband
Oh.
and he and I would take turns like just walking laps. And if I felt comfortable enough to run a lap, then I would run a lap.
Ooh,
And then like whoever wasn't running or like doing the
working
workout
out.
would
Yeah.
just push the baby in the stroller
Mm,
around the track.
that's
Um, and like it worked out for me because both times I had I had May babies, so in the summer, like the kids and the school were not using the track.
uh
But
that's cool.
um, anyways, I just feel like it's easier to take like little bite-sized pieces, like start at the track. Okay, you can do one lap. Okay, now you can do 2 laps. And
That's
then like
cool.
I worked up and did like a 5K with my sister a few
Oh,
months ago. So
that's good to
it
hear.
was, yeah,
I
no,
think I want to try like because I was telling Spencer a lot of my friends right now I feel like or my brother-in-law I don't know are like planning running marathons and I was just like I want to do it again. This is like my postpartum high.
yeah,
And today I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it.
yeah.
Like, I mean, this is maybe like a 2025 goal. And then I was like, but maybe a 5K. So this is
Yeah,
confirming to me that a 5K is probably in my wheelhouse.
it's doable
Not
for sure.
anytime soon, but like soon-ish, I'll say.
Also, I don't know if you've done this or heard of it, but pelvic floor therapy was really helpful.
That's what I'm looking into right now. That's like
Yeah.
what I've gotten the most. I mean, I'll probably talk to my doctor too, of course, and like hear what she has to say. But I feel like I've learned that like that's where you should start.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
before you run.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yay. Okay, well, it's been so fun to talk to you. I've been like so excited. Again, I love your craft room.
Oh, thank you.
But I want to like know. Oh yeah, I think my last question was going to be like, what are you working on that you're like most excited about right now?
So, like the message has come through earlier, I don't always have time to focus on my shop because I'm working with my littles, right?
Yeah.
And um, you and I are similar that way, but I also think that our mindset is a little bit different. you were saying something about how you like really want to focus on and having like time with your littles, and that's why you're like doing what you do when you have time to do it.
Yeah.
Mine's kind of opposite. Like
Okay, tell me about that because
I am,
I'm okay. I could like go both ways. Right now,
yeah,
right now that feels good, but I'm like I have three now, so it's a little bit
hmm,
like
it's
maybe
a
I could
lot.
need some time.
Yeah, yeah. Like you're outnumbered now.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe this is blasphemous to say, but I don't always identify with being a mom.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
I do take care of my littles and I do what is required of me and take care of my responsibilities, but it's not always my favorite thing and I don't always seek out those opportunities. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean,
Like I
I
so
yeah,
I provide them the chance to learn and grow. I spend time with them when I can. I take them to the library, I take them to preschool. I take, you know what I mean? Do
yeah,
all those things. However, I need an escape. I am a firm believer that every mom needs their identity outside of being a mom and outside of being a milk maker and outside of being a wife, right? And so
yeah.
my craft room is that place for me. It's my happy place. And
Mm,
sometimes I am totally like not feeling creative at all, but I will come in here and just sit and I will look at my craft supplies and I'll say, wow, I like that colored paint. Wow, that is a fun sticker. I should put that somewhere. Like I just sitting in here like gives me the happy feels. Do you know what I mean? And I can kind of forget about being a mom. I can put my earbuds in. I can put my podcast on. I don't know about you. I'm a true crime fanatic. I have my
well, you
Dr.
need to
Pepper
get
and
into
I
the
just
true
like
crime.
get into my own space, right? So,
No, I
um,
don't that okay, I that's not blasphemous at all, I don't think. I've been reflecting on this a lot because I'm like kids are all over me all the time.
yes,
And I think it comes down to like, I'm kind of like I don't want to say, I mean, motherhood, you have to kind of be selfless, right? You have to like take care of someone essentially all day. But there's a limit, and I'm
no,
approaching
truly.
my limit. And yeah, so I'm not, I mean, yes. And I guess for to like tell you what, or you had said, what am I trying to say? You had said I'm doing this to be with my kids. Yes, but that's from the perspective of I was thinking about going back to working full time, 8 hours a day away from
Mm,
my baby. Like that's what I
yeah.
was like, that's kind of the
Mm,
like now I feel like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to me is too much. But like 10 hours a week, I could probably do that. I'm not really at that point yet where I have enough childcare right now to do 10 hours a week away from my kids, unless I'm working like when they're sleeping, which is mostly what I do right now. But I could
right.
see me like, getting a nanny, or in fact, we like are wanting to potentially move closer to family. So we have like family who can help us. So I'm like you. I think you're totally, it's not blasphemous. I know you said that. I think it's totally fine to like have something for yourself. Like I said, like
Yeah.
this I can I shut off my thinking about my kids when I'm working on this. I try to at least separate it. I try. I mean, I
Same.
loved your reel though about like bringing your kids in. Like I tried
Yeah.
to do a little bit of that, but sometimes I don't really want them in with me, like you said.
No, for sure. Like I always try and have them nap at the same time so that I can get a little bit of my
Same,
own time.
same.
And after I put them to bed, I get a little bit of my own time,
Hmm.
but it doesn't always work out. And so I still try and get a little bit of craft room time.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means I set my 4-year-old over here with some colored pencils and my baby over here with, some squeaky toys. And we just like kind of suffer through it together, you know what I mean?
No, I
But
agree. Hmm.
I think at least teaching them that there is an escape, that coloring in art is fun, especially in this world of like so many screens and
Hmm.
TV shows and everything. Like, I just want them to enjoy creating. And I think I've done that with my 4-year-old. She is the most artistic little person on the
Yay.
planet. So,
That's
so
inspiring.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
And I feel like sometimes in my head I stress about like if I'm working like or like if I'm doing something for myself that like what are they going to be doing? But sometimes when I like actually
right.
choose to like I don't know, do a workout in the morning or like do something and they're there, they're actually fine. Like I just overthink it too hard. Like I have to be entertaining them constantly. It's like
Right.
actually, even if they're awake and you're doing your own thing, like they can still learn and do their own things too. And it's good for them, like you said, to see
Mhm.
us creating.
Yes. So sorry, to bring it back to your question on what I'm
Yes.
excited about creating.
Yes.
Sometimes it's the things that I don't ever show the internet. Sometimes it's the things
Oh,
that I don't ever
mhm.
put in my shop.
I get
Sometimes
that.
it's literally like this afternoon, I was watercolor painting with my little 4-year-old, and we were drawing candy canes and like little
Yeah.
Christmas pictures. And like no one's ever gonna see those pictures. I actually threw mine away when I was done. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
that was that was a fun thing to create.
Hmm.
And I like it because there's no pressure. And that's I
Mm.
feel like that's what creating's about, you know?
Yeah.
So um
That-
yeah.
No, I
But
love
if you're
that.
talking about my shop, I do have things exciting in my shop.
Yeah, that's what your shop. No, I love that. But truly, I mean, you have beautiful stuff. Do tell us about your shop. I do want to hear about it. But I love that you just create to create.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Even as someone who creates for their business, you still just create to create. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I am currently working on like some scripture tabs.
Oh, I
I
saw.
have a
So
lot of those. Again, I don't know if your listeners are LDS or not, but we have like the Doctrine and
beautiful.
Covenants coming out for this
Mhm.
year. I've got the Book of Mormon, New Testament, and I will work on the Old Testament ones to put out at the end of this year,
Mhm.
as well as some blank ones, which are coming out soon, which is fun. So all
Yeah.
of those pastel tabs all match. If you wanted to get the full set, I'll probably bundle those eventually once I have them all.
Well, no, I mean, I kind of told you this. I don't right now like tab my planners at all. But people that comes up with people that I work with were like, what would you suggest for like marking a page or like tabbing something? In fact, I'm making a primary planner right now for LDS listeners. And yeah, the people that I'm making it with were like, well, is there like a tab so we could like mark off where each section is? So that made me think of you because I was like, no, let me think about that. And then I think I saw your post that day. I was like, oh. So yeah, I think if you're listening and you bullet journal and you are looking for tabs, she's got tabs that you could buy that are super cute. And I have a code, bullet 20. I'll put that link in the podcast description for
Okay.
you. And
Sweet.
that works to your Etsy shop, right? So
Yes.
basically you told me kind of right, like find your Etsy is probably the easiest way to like find any of your stuff.
Yeah. So my messages are open on Instagram if you guys want to do any smaller orders or whatever through there. If you have an aversion to Etsy, I don't know.
Oh,
But I can set out like invoices that way and you can pay with credit
oh,
card or Venmo or whatever.
oh, that's
But
cool.
then I also, yeah, you can just go straight to my Etsy shop that has everything. Um,
So you basically
I
do
try and
Etsy
keep like
or
all the
Instagram.
seasonal stuff up. Yeah, yeah, either way.
Oh, that's cool. I was
Yep,
thinking you'd have to go to your Etsy, but that's cool. You can do it through Instagram too.
yep.
Yay.
That way, if we do it through Instagram, it'll save me on Etsy fees. But yeah,
Oh,
either
yeah.
way,
I love that. Okay, cool. So you prefer
yeah.
Instagram or no? I'm just,
I prefer Etsy probably, but
yeah.
um,
Sometimes it's like the fee's
sometimes,
worth it because
yeah, no, definitely.
I get that. We are gonna probably sign off and eat our ice cream while our husbands be dads and we be creative
Yes,
girlies together.
yes.
But seriously, it's so good to chat with you. And thank you
Thanks.
for the washi
Yeah,
tape. And I'm going to share
you're
your all
welcome.
your stuff in the description. And I'm going to be using this in my journal coming up, and I'm really excited. Oh, and I thought of you today. I mean, I thought of you today because we had this call, but we had this like we had just run out of like our fridge magnet that we put like things we need in our grocery store. And you sent me one too. And today I was like, I wrote down like the things we needed, and I was like, thank you, Kristen. And I
Yeah,
was like, I get to talk to her tonight. I can tell her. So these
yeah,
are so cute. You have little like magnet tabs and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All my notepads have like a magnetic backing on them. Except I
Oh,
do have some that are Post-it note brand. Those ones don't have it. But
oh, so they're sticky.
mhm.
Love that. I just love the crafty things. All the things you sell, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 I'll take that, take that, take that. Yay. Okay, well, I have to ask, what flavor ice cream are you eating, or what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
I think the one in my freezer right now is chocolate peanut butter. Tillamook always.
Love
Tillamook's
that.
the best.
I'm kind of, I like Ben and Jerry's. I'm a Ben and Jerry's. I'm a sucker for the like chocolate brownie, just like chocolate, just chocolate.
Yes, chocolate.
Chocolate everything. It's a
Good.
chocolate brownie or something. Explosion, probably. I don't know.
Yes.
But
Something
peanut butter.
crunchy in your
My
chocolate.
husband's a peanut butter guy, so I've been into chocolate and peanut butter too. So good flavors. Cheers to us.
Sweet.
Okay, I'm gonna
Sounds
stop
good.
the recording now, but it was so fun to connect with Kristyn, a fellow mom, a fellow crafter. Hope you guys enjoyed that chat. Find her on Instagram at Kristyn's with a Y .craft.room. She's so cute. I love her feed. I love her stuff. And if you're looking for cute washi tape or some tabs for your bullet journal setup, 2025 bullet journal setup, check out her stuff. I have a code for you. It is bullet20. And we will catch you on the next episode. Thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.